Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for Week 8 of Survivor 50. My name is Mike Bloom, and another twist has reared its head. Yet again, 2 players are gone, but in quite the dramatic fashion as Survivor has emerged in the era of double duos. And so, of course, I would not be able to do any of this podcast, let alone talk about this episode, without the partner in our own double duo. Liana, we love alliteration, so how can we not love this name?
I mean, of course, the B&B, the double duo, double the trouble, whatever it is. The only thing that I would ask, Mike, is that, can I be the baby?
There's no good answer to this, honestly. Whatever option is being chosen, even if I just put my head on the desk, that's probably the most palatable answer to that question.
I just Rick Devens being like, I'm the baby.
Gotta love me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why. It really sent me over the edge, but very excited to talk about this episode.
Yes, and I am thrilled to be bringing in what I would say is perhaps Cirie Field's finest installment here on Survivor 50, an outright member of the Fields family who has been watching her family grow over the course of 8 weeks, considering all the on-island marriages Cirie is marshaling at this point. It was the one, the only from Big Brother 25, and most recently, Amazing Race 38, Izzy Gleicher.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, the Fields family just keeps growing.
Has Rizo been invited to the family group chat?
Yeah.
Yes. TBD.
TBD. Okay.
Listen, we don't do a group chat. Everybody hates a group chat. I hate a group chat.
I just, I'm excited to see the family tree at the end of all of this. Like, I really want to know how everyone's related. So that's really what I'm going to be looking for. But, you know, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Maybe there's going to be some divorces, some more marriages, more members.
Had me shook. You know, I mean, here we are.
That's got to be a gag.
You have so many stepfathers now,
yeah.
Izzy. Like,
I never thought I would be so unlucky.
Is a group chat like a live tribal council where just people are talking and conversations are flowing endlessly and you're like, do I insert myself in this conversation? Do I not? Where are we right now?
Oh yeah, the lurkers. I'm a lurker. I shouldn't say that. All the people in a group chat.
The lurker in the family group
I read everything, you know?
All right. Well, Izzy, I gotta get your thoughts on this season so far. I think some people were calling this the best episode of the season. And look, 50 has had some on and off stuff, perhaps the past few weeks, but people are like, we are firmly on right now. How on are you to this season so far?
Yeah, I think, you know, I feel like I've had a lot of versions of hearing about this season. So watching it, I had certain expectations. And I don't know, you know, I'm maybe on the side of being a little disappointed with this season. I think this is I'm going to start with my hot take that like you have to add the, you know, comma and next part of it is that I just think like cis white men have like lost their, they have ruined it for everyone. All the good ones, because they are good ones. I love me a Devens. I love me a Christian, but you know what? That's just the burden that the good ones have to bear, is that no more like straight white dudes should play Survivor. I think like the bad ones have fully ruined it. And it's like, you just gotta like, you know, there's a lot of burdens that I gotta bear. So that's the good ones. That's just, you gotta understand. And that's for a while. We just need a break. I need a break. You know, Coach leaving was amazing. All the people that are like, that was dumb because they'll be a target. No. That beach must have been awful. That man has a chokehold with no power. It's like, how is that possible? You know, that he's
like Darth Vader. He chokes from afar.
It's so wild. Anyway, so I was thrilled to see Coach go. I need Jonathan off my screen. I can't. So it's a little too much of that for me this season. The twists are a little, I wish the first merge tribal was just a OG tribal. I wish it was just Big Brother. I wish we had, because now we've had two tribal.
Do not put Cirie on the same beach with 16 people like she did when she had to enter a house with 16 other people.
Listen, that wasn't the problem. No, but I think, wouldn't it be so interesting? Like, the more and more I can't help but compare Big Brother and Survivor. Like, Survivor is so controlled, actually, because the numbers are always so small. It's really hard. Look at Survivor AU, right? I'm not caught up on this season, but the reason like pre-merge is always so exciting is because like it's basically like merge,
Yep.
you know, like mergers, and that's like really exciting. There's like a lot of room for others to maneuver. There's like a lot more variations, and like everyone wants to see this entire cast be with this entire cast, you know? So I feel like, anyway, I just wish like we've had now 2 merge, you know, votes, merge eliminations, 3 technically, but like 2 tribals, and it hasn't yet just been like a merge vote, you know? And I'm a little bit disappointed by
I guess
that.
D's would have been the most merge like, right? I mean, I guess apart from the immunity thing, right? Of not everyone can compete for individual immunity because you have the group stage first.
They're
so I suppose,
still making them swap, right? Like they're still making them compete as tribes, and then not everybody could have won immunity for the first one. Do that twist like a couple tribal. Anyway, so that's killing me. It's like chock full of, as a fan, I've been thinking about this too. As a fan, we get to be pissed at the twists. Like we get to be mad. But I loved what Aubry said. I know I'm always jumping around, but I love what Aubry said at Tribal this time.
About Rick being the baby, yes.
It's a baby. But like that basically as a player, you can't judge the twist. You just have to play with it, you know? So, but I'm just disappointed that they don't get some. I voted for no idols, no nothing. I voted for OG nothing. Put these people on a beach and let them go. That's what I voted.
Same. That's what I voted for as well. So when
the 63%.
I was gonna say, when Jeff keeps referencing this 63%, I'm like, me and the 37%ers just hanging out with the no idols.
Again, when we're living perhaps in an era of politics where someone's like, I won this thing by majority, and therefore I have a mandate that everything I do will be universally well received. Yeah. It's like, again, there are percentages for a reason. I do want to stick on one of your points, though, Izzy, because I have been mulling this over a little bit through 49, but especially through 50. Are we in sort of like the big brotherification era of Survivor? I mean, at points, like I've seen Rizo outright call them comps instead of challenges. I believe the term floater was even invoked in this last episode.
Yes.
And then, I have heard some discourse, of course, with, everything going on with the blood moon. And as you mentioned, the only half the group can compete for immunity. And now, of course, the double duos here. Like, it does feel a little more expect the unexpected than we have experienced, at least for the past few seasons. Do you feel like we're starting to get into a little bit of a 2 sides of the same coin territory?
I mean, yes, like ultimately, like deep down, these games are not different, that's like, but I do think that there's not enough time for these twists to really, I don't have impact. I think on, that's Billy. Billy has an opinion.
Billie Eilish?
No. She would never have done that boomer. There would have been, I have notes for the boomerang.
That cat would if that cat wants to live in my house, you will not do that boomerang idol.
Never would have screwed Genevieve that way.
Listen, yes. I want to joke about that all the time. Okay, but I think that like on Survivor, there's not enough time. And so I think actually the more twists you throw in some of the more conservative the players get. And on Big Brother, there's time to get bored. There's time for your mind to wander. There's time for like all of the possible, like, I don't know, reactions to the twist to like settle in, and people like, it's fun to see, well, at least for me, it's fun to see what could be. But on Survivor, there's like not enough time to really go through it. And so I think it makes them a little scared. Of course, I would be terrified. You know what I mean? So I think it's like leading ultimately to some more conservative gameplay in some ways,
That's a really good point to think about how basically how the timing impacts players' response to a twist, right? Because even in this episode, if you think about we have to pair up, they have to pair up basically immediately, right? There's no time to like stop, think, contemplate, okay, what do we think these pairs are going to be? Do we think it's just going to be running immunity? Do we think that there could be anything else involved in the situation? You have to immediately decide, yes, I want to go to exile. Yes, I want to be the odd man out, instead of having the time to really think about it. And like, so would players' decisions be different if they had more time to contemplate it? And the same thing goes with the vote, right? Where they have to make decisions so quickly. So having that extra mullification time, does that ultimately change the reaction to some of these twists and to how players would approach their gameplay?
Yeah. I for what it's worth, it does seem like, because we got a little bit more of a straightforward vote last time, and I don't know if necessarily this honor, integrity, old school alliance, Zoom alliance, whatever you want to call them, like had a stranglehold of the game going into this episode, but it does seem like this twist did flip things on its head a little bit. If it was a straightforward individual vote like the last one was, I don't think Coach would be going. I mean, considering that some of the people, including Tiffany, who has by far the biggest axe to grind with Coach, is like, Coach is pathetic. I want to keep Coach in the game. The weird thing is, I think maybe the popular advice to subscribe to is like, oh my God, Chrissy screwed over by another last minute twist because she was paired up with Coach.
Yeah.
You could argue that maybe Coach got sort of dragged out of the game by being paired with Chrissy. Now, granted, a lot of that is because they were sort of represented as the figurehead of this alliance. But I think that's what makes this episode so exciting, is because, as Christian says, this was a bit of the heart of the Death Star, that if you feel like there is this majority alliance of 7 that I think could have done a bit more of a straightforward vote, then taking 2 of them out here, yes, I agree, definitely. And usually, like, the less time you give people to strategize, the more they're just more recalcitrant and cards close to chest and like, listen, I don't know what's happening tomorrow, so let me just make the easy move tonight.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like it was necessarily the easy move going into the day as it was coming out of the day, where everyone basically except for 2 people voted for Coach and Chrissy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Maybe this could open up a little bit of a discussion about the floater situation, because I'm curious what you two think. I wrote this down so I could see it. So that's like, because I'm like, am I crazy? Because like, we all know that like perception is reality, right? And I think like maybe what no one is saying is that like, I think we've like maybe found, I don't know, the beauty in Cirie's game right now on this season, because in what world is Emily, Aubry, Devens, and Christian a group of 4, the middle, who are floating? Like, it is,
and also in the middle of what? There's like a very one very thick slice of bread, and then one very thin slice of bread that's like basically Tiffany.
Oh, what's crazy is like when Coach Jonathan, Chrissy, Steph, and Joe talk about the middle, they think that Cirie and Ozzy, which then default means Rizo, is on their side. So the other side of the beach is Emily, Aubry, Devens, and Christian, with Tiffany technically visibly being a floater because she doesn't have a home. But that means that Cirie, Rizo, and Ozzy are the middle, because they are absolutely with Emily, Aubry, Devens, and Christian in larger numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're actually aligned with both.
I mean, they were the ones that determined who went home in this episode, essentially.
100%. And I think they have been. I think they will continue to be, right? Like, anyway, I just think it's interesting because even them, whether they know it or not, like they even use the language of like the Aubry, Christian, them being floaters, if you will, which is just so funny because where does the cloth think the other side is? Where does the cloth think the washcloth is? Like, where do they think it is? Where is it? Anyway.
The middle seems to the middle almost like doesn't even have the positional meaning anymore, right? Like the middle people now just seems to refer to that group, and everybody's calling them the middle people, even though it actually has nothing to do with their positioning. Because as you mentioned, and Mike, you too, right? Like, who is the other side? Yeah. So middle can't exist. So yeah, it's so funny. And I mean, this started last week also, and now this language has just continued with using the middle people despite there being like no opposition.
Yeah, is it like coded language more so for like the strategists, right? Like I think
the
back
gamer.
to like David Kinney in 48, right? Who's basically like, we need to get out the gamers, we need to get out the puzzle people. It's time for people like us to be able to actually make their way into the end game here. And I wonder if it's that similar type of mentality of, okay, these people aren't like playing the middle in terms of actual factions, but they are types of people that you would expect to be in the middle of a typical Survivor season. They have middle person qualities.
Yeah, or like flippers, right? Like people who could go in the middle between different groups, I guess. I don't know.
I hate all of that language like being so negatively coded. Not from you, Liana, but like from the culture of it. Because it's like, how do you think you're supposed to maneuver? Like, what are you doing here? And also, yeah, just to rag on Coach a little bit more, like what honor and integrity bullshit. You literally are telling CBS they should sue you for on every podcast talking about notes you put in people's bags about Rizzo's got to be first and pregame alliances. It's like, what honor and integrity? You're mad that everyone else showed up and was like, okay, I'm going to be present with my surroundings and with this game.
But Izzy, he was honest with it.
It's like killing me. They're like the biggest liars on the beach, you know, like they're the biggest hypocrites, the biggest phonies. It's just like, anyway.
So what you're saying is you are not penning a flute solo to the music that Coach created in the hammock before they went to tribal council?
I'm so mad they gave him the like ego boost of like putting that whole composed little clip with his fuck ass song. I'm so mad.
Like, but here's the thing though. It's funny because like I'm just going to imagine if I'm Coach watching this, I'm like, yeah, I got that.
Yeah, you are.
But everybody else is clowning on this man. So, you know, it's all about the interpretation, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm obsessed with it. It is peak Coach. I mean, the fact that like it's this medieval kind of little like, oh, I love being the dragon slayer, and the fact that, as you mentioned, Liana, yeah, luckily no iambic pentameter or anything. It's like he could do whatever amount of syllables he wants to. But then, I think, as you mentioned, Liana, perhaps more of the clowning on portion is when they cut the music off when he's like, I couldn't find a rhyme to that. Listen, lyric writing is hard, and so, but I do love the fact that this man apparently actually did spend about like 5 hours in the hammock, sitting there, making up songs and poems in possibly the last day of Survivor he will ever play in his life.
Chrissy put him in timeout.
She put him in timeout.
Which is so funny because Chrissy's like, I don't want, like, I'm so upset that people think I'm momming them. I don't mean to. Coach, you are grounded, okay? No haikus. You can't have your friend Jonathan come over, okay? You don't deserve that. No shenanigans.
All just like Chrissy's revenge for Coach telling her to be quiet without actually even using words. At least she was straight up and was like, you're being fucking annoying as hell. Like,
I do like the two of them have been basically passing the ball back and forth. They're like, you're too talkative. No, you're too talkative. No, you're too extra. No, you're too extra.
It's like, maybe people just don't like what you're saying. Maybe we're just actually missing the point entirely. Like, not about quantity, you know?
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
All right, so let's get into this twist. Let's get into the double duos, which I am so obsessed with how I will say there's a lot of benefits to talk about with this twist, but I am obsessed with how horrifically named this is. Just first and foremost, this is one of the 3 worst names I've ever heard for a twist, and that includes Medallion of Power on top of it, because it is so amazingly redundant.
What was it out? The double? It's one double. Sorry.
Like I get, it's a technically like it's a double boot, and you're playing in duos. But as you mentioned, Izzy, it's essentially saying 2-2,
2-2,
double duo. When Liana, you mentioned it before, double trouble is right there. It is a layup. Ironically enough, as you're probably going for a double.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't even think, look, maybe this is on me for not paying enough attention, but I was like, yeah, double duo, who cares? Whatever, blood moon it up. I don't know. To me, I'm like, okay, what's the mechanic? Just tell me what the mechanic is.
I need a name too. I don't even need a name. Just
exactly.
Maybe that's also like the big that's also like the big brotherification of Survivor a little bit too, right? Like the twists need a name, alliances need names.
Oh my god, wait, Cirie. Okay, wait. When the Exile Island becomes the Nether, then I think we've gone full Big Brother. When Cirie gets sucked.
Except she wants to get sucked. She's like, nope, suck me away, Nether Gorgon.
Please take me away.
Take me away, Nether Gorgon. I forgot. Oh man.
All right, well, let's get our thoughts on this double duo twist though, because it is a massive one. Now I don't know if it's like the most game-changing one in Survivor history, as Jeff has said, but for the first time in the show's history, we have had 2 people eliminated at once in tandem at a tribal council. Izzy, whether it be, you know, born out of the results or not, what do you think of it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is an interesting twist, actually. I mean, I think you know, not to reveal too much of what I would do, but like, I think there is basically never a scenario in any of these games where they ask you to pair up and it makes sense to pair up with an ally. Like, it just does not make sense. And so I think, like, honestly, going into it, whether or not people were thinking about any of the 4 of them, I think the obvious choices to vote out, and they did it to themselves, were Aubry and Devens and Chrissy and Coach, because Aubry and Devens are very much on, it's not the middle, it is the other side. And Chrissy and Coach are this cloth bullshit. And so, like, obviously Christian and Jonathan are probably the safest on the beach, you know, like maybe I was thinking Emily and, funny enough, Chrissy brought up Emily and Rizo. I think they were the other ones that would have been like on the fence, because I think they're closer in like where their allies are connected, you know, to connect them more, you know. So I think it was just like, yeah, I think that's an interesting part of it. I think if it was totally, if no allies were together, I think it would have been a super, super interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I wish there was like a little production interference and they didn't have to do it themselves and they just like made it that way, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of concessions, right? Then it's a real big proxy role of like, okay, who can I lose that will affect my game the least, you know? And I think there's a lot of back and forth as to, I also love the idea that duos can vote separately as well, because then it doesn't involve a stalemate that would obviously happen between like a Christian and a Jonathan. Liana, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I liked it as well. And so you've got 24 people. You've got to get rid of, you got to have doubles, you got to have triples, right? There's going to be multiple people eliminated per episode. So I would much rather have this than have another split tribal or, you know, again, like kind of the same thing that we've been seeing before. So I'm happy that they mixed it up a little bit. I do think that I wish they had had a little bit more time to decide the pairs for that exact reason, to have like maybe a little bit more strategy, because it was basically like they read the note and then all of a sudden they had to, you know, go ahead and pair up. I don't know how much time was in between there. Maybe they did have some discussion. We just didn't see that. Although I am happy that they actually did include that bit. We got to see them picking, you know, picking their teammates. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree, Izzy, with you that it's always advantageous. Like Christian talked about it, the benefit of him being paired with Jonathan, where, you know, he's like, look, I'm not going to catch strays. Obviously, no one in my alliance is going to vote me out. This is absolutely the best place to be. So if everyone had been mismatched a little bit more, I think that the discussion and the almost negotiations of who are we each willing to lose would have been really, really fun. So it was kind of unfortunate that they basically immediately were able to narrow it down, but I'm still happy that they tried it, and I think it was a fun twist.
Yeah, it's like funny because like I think production thinks that like you make them do it on the fly, you get the most interesting chaotic thing, but I think it goes back to that they mostly do the safest thing, you know, because it's just like you don't have time. Even the idiots have time to mull it over, and maybe they're going to make a worse choice than if they follow their instincts. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just like. Yeah, they valued that part of it or something.
Yeah, I'm still chewing over my thoughts on this one because so I have seen this twist be utilized in Survivor South Africa, and I did not like it whatsoever, because without going into too many spoilers about the season, basically at the point they did it, it was the camp was basically divided like 6 versus 4. And then they did random division, which I think is much, much worse. I'm so happy that they let people pick their partners, even if they didn't necessarily know what the task entailed. And then it actually wound up being that all the 6 in the majority were paired up and all 4 in the minority were paired up. And when one pair in the minority won immunity, guess who ended up going? I think that there's something about this idea of like you kind of being some sort of like just like casual damage, you know,
collateral damage.
Collateral damage. Exactly. This idea that you weren't necessarily going to go home that round, but because of the person you are paired up with, you were sort of taken out as a result. There's still something about that doesn't exactly feel very Survivor-y to me, but I cannot deny whatsoever that this brought really interesting television, because now there were a couple of options that were presented. And as much fun as it would have been to have one of every quote unquote alliance in each pairing, it does create this interesting dynamic where it did seem like, okay, we have 2 people in a pair from this side and 2 people in a pair from this side. And then it comes down to our, ironically enough, not a duo, a trio of Cirie's Wizard of Oz to be like, okay, which direction do we go? I also feel like what probably didn't help this particular situation is that the advent of, okay, if you use an idol, both of you are safe. And considering we had Joe and Tiffany with immunity, we have Ozzy and Stephanie with a public idol, you have Rizzo and Emily with a public idol. There's only a few options that are left. But regardless, I do think that it was executed really well. And I do think these players, and maybe this is why this is also a twist that you bring in for returning players instead of new players. Like this does feel like something that people could enjoy and be able to like think about from a next level perspective, albeit over the course of a shortened time period, than if you threw it out to newbies. They would just be, I think, completely scuttled and then maybe just go with like the easy bottom line. Okay, well, it's Aubry and Rick. No matter what, I don't care about the idol. We're getting rid of them.
Well, and I mean, we've seen this. We've seen people pair up. They literally reference it when they're talking about, wait, how did you guys do it, Joe, on your season when they had to pair up? So it's not like pairing up for an immunity challenge is inherently a unique thing in Survivor US. I think it's just that added layer of then, you know, being voted out as a pair and an idol being played together as a pair is where that extra twist comes into play. So, you know, it's entirely possible. There's no, like, how would you even think about that, right? You think the twist is the person getting exiled, right? And I think that's why you had so many people, well, I guess at least 4 step up and volunteer to be sent there. And we get Rick even talking in confessional about, hey, this is going to be advantageous, actually, you know, and Cirie, oh, sweet Cirie, just wanting to be like, I just wanted to make it easy for you guys.
That's so genuine. Like she's like, I'm not gonna let that tank my game, that someone is so pissed that I like, you know, I'm gonna be so bad at this, you know, like that was so legit. Like
I loved it.
Poor thing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, I mean, I love that Stephanie, I'm trying to think of the other ones, but I feel like Stephanie is the one that this didn't happen to. Like, so far it's been pretty consistent that if you go to Exile in some way, shape, or form, you're safe from the vote, right? Like I guess Stephanie didn't go to Exile, she just went on a journey.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. A little bit of a difference between like the only incarnations of Exile, quote unquote, we've seen were Ozzy and Q spending the night, Ozzy and Rizzo spending the night, and now Cirie being safe from the vote.
Right, and they were all safe all those times, right? Q and Ozzy were.
No, they missed out on being there on day one.
Got it. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I think Exile is maybe in some ways always a good thing to go to, even though it sucks, you know.
It is interesting that Cirie had to do like a task while Rizzo and Ozzy basically had to do bupkis.
Isn't that interesting? There's no whatever. There's no design bias here or anything.
I think if you are looking at it from the odd man out on Exile is safe, right? Like that's been the logic in the pre-merge with with Ozzo over there. So,
but I guess she did have to do something. Like she wouldn't have been safe. I mean, she would have been safe because of the pairs thing. But
it is interesting, obviously we are being colored by a very specific edit, but like think about the world where Cirie doesn't find that coconut in time and spends the night on Exile. Ozzy literally says like, boy, I'm glad you're here because I was going to vote out Aubry and Rick.
Bless his heart, I think that was, I think she knew. Listen, she knows who she's playing with, right? She is the most intuitive person. She knows. She does not pick her. I think that's something that people don't talk about enough. Like she picks her allies, like she knows who she's playing with every game, so she knows what she needs to do to make them their best. I'm using my family language I'm using, like she. And so like, I think you could hear that it was like, God damn it, I'm going to have to do this. Like I'm going to have to think over every
oh my God
coconut. She's like, okay.
No,
let's go,
It's so true. And it was so fun. This series of events of basically Cirie being like, I have to get my ass back to camp. Yeah. Rizzo and Ozzy being like, yeah, that's what Cirie would want. Yeah, that's what Cirie would want. Cirie coming back being like, absolutely not. Absolutely. That is not what I want. Those 3 moments are just like, that's a story. Like that's a comic in 3 panels. I love it.
No, it reminds me of like, again, maybe it's just that this family unit or polycule or whatever they set up on the island, but it's sort of like, Ozzy's like, I'm going to make Christmas dinner. And then like the roast is burned coming out of the oven. And Cirie's like, don't worry, I've ordered takeout. He's like, oh my God, thank God you're here. I do not know what we would have eaten if you weren't here.
Well, it's interesting because I actually think like like, I think that Rizo, if Cirie hadn't, or I think if Cirie hadn't told Rizo that Chrissy was saying his name and Emily's name, I think we've seen very like even playing field conversations between Cirie and Rizo, right? Like she really respects his opinion, and like I think like they really
which is
work
incredible
together.
on all ends, because I know that Rizo has probably treated these people as normal individuals, but there has to be at least, I mean, you experience this too, Izzy, like there's at least one iota that never leaves your body of like, am I Cirie Field's closest ally right now?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, but what's crazy is like I think when she chooses you and you know that she's chosen you, you know it's real, actually. Like they're
chosen one.
Yeah, like I don't know, you know, you could tell that it's like she's not playing me, you know?
Yeah.
And so
genuine.
like, yeah, and even though that's the vibe she gives off to anyone, there's, you know, yeah, she gives off an energy for sure. She's reading energies and she's giving it off. And I think Rizo knows that like they're equal here, you know? And like, but I think Rizo was taking advantage of the fact that Cirie wasn't there with Ozzy, because I think it benefited. I think Rizo was going to try to take the chance to get rid of Aubry and Devens, because that would put him in more of a power position within the trio.
Yeah, because remember, he has this 4 horsemen thing. Like he has
Yeah,
a tight relationship with
to
Coach.
the end. Yeah. You know, he wants to like, what's his fucking name? Boston Rob and Jane. What's his name? What's his name? Never mind.
What are you
What's
talking?
the crazy guy's name? The Francesca.
Philip.
Philip.
You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Like it's that, right?
Phillip.
Like Coach could be Rizzo's Philip. You
Philip.
know? Like the kind of delusional king, right? So I don't know. I think like, yeah, I think Rizo would have tried to pitch Aubry and Devens to Cirie just to see if he could still get that happening, even though, of course, that was never going to happen.
Right, because if you look at it from Cirie's perspective, I mean, we sort of forget about this, but first there is, remember this foursome that formed on Sela all the way back in the beginning of Cirie and Christian and Rick and Emily?
Yeah.
They're still there. The real thing that I found out only a few days ago that I realized is Sela, the Orange Tribe, went to Tribal Council in episodes 1 and 2. They were the only tribe to go to Tribal Council in the first week of the game, and they have not lost anyone since.
Okay.
And the 6 who are left make up the majority of the final 11.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this. I saw a clip, you know, I don't know what podcast it was from, but Rob C was talking about this with someone, and he was saying that he was like, can you believe Disaster Tribe is still there? But it's actually like a Disaster Tribe pre-merge only means that they can't win a comp. That has nothing to do with playing Survivor. Like that tribe was stacked with good Survivor players, all in different ways. But like, you're going to tell me that those 6 you wouldn't put your money on in some way on any season that they were on? You know what I mean? Like, I think it actually, like, once we take those stupid fucking comps out of there, challenges out of there, you know, those are good Survivor players. Like, I think it makes total sense that they're still there, you know? And I think losing tribes are in powerful positions come the merge. So,
yeah. I mean, we see that frequently where whenever there's the remaining members of a disaster tribe, they typically do pretty well.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's definitely a component of it. I also do want to go back just to Rizo for a hot sec, because it was very interesting that I don't know if it was damage control or just trying to prevent things, but he was like, we got to tell Joe, like recognizing that Joe at least needs to be told about this, and still trying to, he's like, okay, fine. If I have to lose Coach, I still need to maintain this relationship with Joe. Although Joe's behavior was so weird in this episode, because he was basically like, I'm never writing down Coach's at Tribal. I'm never writing down Coach's name out of principle. And then there was the one vote, not for, you know, I mean, Chrissy cast her vote, and then there was the one vote for Devens and Aubry, but it wasn't him. It was Jonathan. I was absolutely shocked.
Do you want to hear the story behind that? That's talked about in Exit Press. So apparently Joe really wanted this to be taken literally, that he promised Coach he would never write his name down. So the first time he voted, he just wrote down Chrissy. And then he got prompted by production to go back into the voting booth. And actually, if you look at the vote, maybe I'll try to pull a screenshot of it. I don't believe he actually wrote Coach's full name. I'm pretty sure he wrote COAH. So he did not write the word Coach. So he is trying to get through with the most Samantha semantics method. So if it gets to the end,
that's
he's like, I did not write your name down. I wrote down Koa.
It's like so embarrassing. You know what I mean? It's just like so embarrassing.
That's that's like Mormon soaking in my mind. I'm like, that doesn't count.
Yeah, like Orthodox people doing it through the sheet of like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I gotta try to pull this up. Let me see if I can find a screenshot while we're chatting, because that's nuts to me.
Well, and I think Joe, like, do you think Joe really?
Here you go, Liana, by the way.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, perfect. Yes, thank
no
you.
Other C. It's like cough.
But you can also see now how it's a bit of a parenthetical, right? It's like, oh, I don't have enough room here. It's the old John Mulaney bit about writing the birthday banner of like, oh God, okay, coach on the bottom, maybe so small that he can't even recognize it.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's so embarrassing. Can't stand it. But yeah, it's like I thought it was interesting how Joe, when Rizo, Cirie, Tiff was there. I can't remember if Ozzy was there, but had that conversation.
Oh yeah, on the beach.
And he was like, in his usual, like, no, we can't do that. You know, like in this like insane, like welcome back crazy eyes. Like I guess we are hitting us with Big Brother. Like, but it was just like, in what power do you think you have any business talking to any of these people with that tone? Right? Like with that authoritative tone, you know that no one's been listening to you. Have you even been saying anything? It's crazy. That's wild, right? That's delusional.
Well, not to mention that Joe, again, like we forget about the Sela time period, but like he does not like Rick Devens. Like they bring it up later in this episode. It's like, remember when the two of them like had an actual blow up on the beach that was apparently even worse in person? Like Joe has every reason. Like I think it's fine if he writes down Aubry and Rick's name. I think he could have his cake and eat it too here and be like, yeah, I know I'm in the minority, but like he's not angering Aubry, I don't think, in the process. Even if he does, he's like, Devens, I'm gunning for you. I don't think that's moving the needle. I can't imagine these guys have really let bygones be bygones since they separated at the swap.
I mean, definitely not Joe. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think that's crazy. Aubrey's like the most self-aware player on the beach, I think. You know what I mean? Like she would absolutely
only after she does something that she shouldn't have done. Like self-aware in hindsight, I would say.
I don't know. Well, yeah, but like she's also not going to read the situation and be weird about that. She's going to be like, obviously you were voting for us. You know, that's what I mean. Like, not everyone needs that like 1v1 type of thing, right? Like I would expect, votes on my season. I was like, it's crazy. Like we would all expect you to vote the other way. It's fine. I really don't care. We don't care. So
well, and I think it was really interesting to see with how Tiffany responded to people who voted for her. So for example, her reaction to Ozzy especially, I thought was really interesting because she was basically like, look, this person is telling me that they voted for me, which she interprets as they care enough to want to work with me. And I think Ozzy does a really good job in terms of repairing that relationship. I think Joe similarly has a good job repairing that relationship. So I think that there's a universe where if he votes for Tiffany and Devens, he can go to Aubry and be like, hey, look, man, it's nothing against you specifically. Like, I just hate Devens. And that's no secret. We had a big blowout fight. Everybody
I'm sorry,
saw
Aubry.
it.
I hate your baby.
I hate your baby. You're fine, but F your baby. So I think that that's absolutely just such a viable option to go with. And I think it also helps to maintain even whether this is or is not Joe, right? Whether it is or is not his strategy. I think the perception of someone who's a straight shooter is so important to try to cultivate. The perception of a straight shooter. So Joe, like, just do it. It's fine, because then people are going to be like, okay, yeah, Joe just like follows his word. He's not unpredictable, because the unpredictable people, AKA the middle people, those are the scary people, right? So just be the straight shooter, or being perceived as the straight shooter. I think that that's such a solid strategy, especially for somebody like Joe.
I want to talk about Rick here a little bit, because there was a lot to do with him towards the tail end of this episode. First off, I will say that the Rick and Aubry dynamic, I mean, first, lots of Edge of Extinction references being made in this episode. An outright War Dog name.
War Dog name.
Yeah, I'm trying to cultivate a list on Chat BCC. I want to do a brand steal maybe at the end of the season of everyone who has been mentioned in absentia in Survivor history, of like Liz Wilcox, Sophie Bellarity, Gabby Pascuzzi, War Dogs on that list now. But the spare moments we get of them are kind of ridiculous. We have the baby comment, but if you remember, like there's this moment where it's Chrissy and Aubry and Rick, and Chrissy's talking to Rick, and Chrissy's like, oh my God, I just have to like keep my partner calm from not, letting their shenanigans drag me down. And Rick's like, yeah, I know that. And then the camera swings around and Aubry's there. They have the biggest like King of Queens, Carrie and Doug Heffernan sitcom husband-wife thing of like, oh, Jeff, you think the coconut's bad? You should try Aubry's cooking, and just expecting a laugh track to sound in the background.
My bitch wife. Yeah, it's that meme. No, they're really interesting, but also, I mean, I don't know how much of a joke this is from Devens, right? So that moment with Chrissy to me is like emblazoned in my mind because Aubry doesn't really react in the haha kind of way. So that was very interesting. But also remember, Devens was more than willing to vote out Aubry when they split up for the Blood Moon. So, it's not like I think he feels a super strong loyalty to her. I think maybe through these sort of series of events, he eventually does. But, he's more than willing to let her go.
Well, yeah, I just like, I don't know. I will always feel for Aubry. Like she is always fighting.
Well, she's basically like a corollary to the Fields family at this point.
Yeah, I love Aubry.
Family friend.
I don't know. She's just like so. Yeah, I mean, she said it in this episode. She was like, I am constantly like underestimated, and also because people like, yeah, I think it's interesting because she's underestimated but also feared, right? Like people are like nervous about Aubry. I don't really understand why. I think she's like a straight shooter also.
Well, yes, we certainly experienced that in the premiere.
Yeah, but like why is that different than all of the other, like why does she get targeted so heavily for being like that when so many other people are let off the hook for that behavior? Like I think we always blame an Aubry, but it's like she's obviously a good Survivor player. She makes it. I mean, I'm amazed that she's still in it this season, right? Like she always seems to consistently make it super far into the game. So I don't know. Let off Aubry. Leave her. Let her be. Let her be. Let her feel. Let her react.
We need to get into what happened with this fake idol because the pure irony and, for lack of a better term, poetic flow that this entire sequence of events has had is incredible. So let's just sort of like paint an entire picture of the Rick and Aubry dynamic this season, or so they believe the dynamic to be. Aubry gets an idol in her bag that she thinks is from Rick Devens. And she says, okay, you and me are now officially locked in. Thank you for giving me this idol. I am going to play it now. This episode, she's looking at him like, God, I really wish I had the idol that you gave me. And Rick's like, don't worry. Here's an idol that I completely pulled out of my ass and fabricated 2 weeks ago and have planted here. And the best thing was he convinced her it was real up to that point. And I don't know if he's ever going to tell her it's not. I think right now you are just so in too deep that you have to just keep digging in the hopes that eventually you strike oil, because he then sits back down and he spins what I thought was like such a brilliant spur of the moment lie of like, oh no, I can't use it this time because I have to leave tribal council. That's how it activates. Like it's such a brilliant thing to come up with some sort of excuse. Certainly it's better than, oh, I forgot. So at least that was bad. There's a baseline there, but it's just the incredible thing now of where Aubry's like, oh my God, Rick, you're my protector once more. You found an idol and gave it to me. And then you found another idol. Neither one of those things are true.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, it's like that lie was the best part of him revealing it. I mean, I'm sure, I thought I read somewhere that like Emily Flippin turned to Rizzo and was like, it's fake. That couldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, Coach just said it was fake. Obviously, Stephanie was like, he's not showing it. It's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I just think, yeah, I mean, he was like too excited to grab it. He didn't even look for it. He couldn't even pretend to dig. He was like, doink, here it is. Like Devens, he was so excited. It was crazy. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like they all should have voted them out right then. Right then and there. Just
I know. Well, the funniest part for me about this whole thing was, so Stephanie obviously is questioning whether or not this is real. And she goes to Christian and just goes, you ask him to show it, and Christian's like, I don't want any part of it. Obviously, he knows it's fake. So
yeah, and that's if you need to rewatch this episode, which you should, watch the Tribal Council specifically for the Christian reactions, because I think he's simultaneously trying to act shocked in another reference to an iconic Big Brother gif, but also simultaneously squeeing on the inside, being like, oh my God, this is actually working. My skin knees weren't for nothing.
He fainted for that bit, you know?
Yeah.
He really did. Committed, fully committed.
I mean, it is interesting though, because, I have heard, at least in talking with Chrissy and Coach, discrepant reports as to whether or not this did move the needle. Chrissy seemed to be under the belief that she was like, we had the votes going in. Remember, Stephanie had a vote steal as well. And so it's like, we have the numbers, but then Rick pulls this out and it spreads enough doubt to flip people over. But I feel like Coach expressed this, and I kind of feel this way as well, that as we mentioned, no matter what, it was going to be Aubry, Rick, Christian, Emily, and then assumingly Ozzy, Rizo, Cirie voting for Chrissy and Coach, no matter what. If anything, this fake idol might have like spooked Stephanie and Joe into voting on the other side, but I don't really know. And which again, maybe questions the legitimacy of doing this, but I understand Rick wanting to do it. Like, this is the first time his name's been really thrown out, and it's a wild set of circumstances. He does not want to be collateral damage, quote unquote, guarantee his safety here. But I don't know necessarily, as much as it caused a live tribal council, if this changed the plan for the majority of people going in.
Yeah. Well, I think majority is the key word there, right? Because you see Jonathan, who is the one person who sticks with his vote of Devens and Aubry, basically go over to, who does he talk to? Ozzy, maybe? And he goes, hey, so what are we gonna do? Like, it wasn't even like any kind of proposition. It was just like, we're between a rock and a hard place. Tell me what to do. Like, it was that reaction.
And then Ozzy then turns to Cirie.
Yeah. So right, yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was it was sort of interesting to see it play out. To have it be such a landslide vote does take a little bit of the excitement out of it, but certainly to see the scramble is always exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Rick is often doing things for the flair first, and then the strategy catches up afterwards. You know what I mean?
100%.
Now, what is he? Like, now it's gonna look ridiculous if he brings it up or tries to do it, but he's got the target on his, but now everyone knows.
See, that's the thing too. I think, I guess the question is, this will probably put
that fear protecting him.
I mean, what's interesting though, because on the one hand, yes, now people are like, he has an idol, need to go after him. But Aubry brings up a really good point this episode, which is like, why is me having an idol, or I think it was last episode, why is me having an idol more dangerous than Rizo and Ozzy having an idol? So I think it's all confirmation bias, right? It's like, if we feel you're not dangerous, then it's okay for you to have an idol, because I still am okay with you being in the game. I don't know how vehemently the, ragtag group that Coach and Chrissy soon have just left, like, will be laser focused on Rick Devens. This could be a reason for people, supposedly, if these middle people are as flibberty gibbets as are suggested, like, maybe they then flip on Rick. But I don't know. I do see the value again in just like, grab it now, ask questions later, or just continue to be entirely enigmatic about it and make up as many details as you can. Because I think the second you say like, oh, don't worry, it's a fake to anybody, then everybody's gonna know.
This is the chattiest beach of
Survivor. So many chads.
A long time. Like, yeah, that information is getting out. I mean, Rick has to keep it for himself, Yeah. I mean, and Christian, but Christian's not going to say anything. You know, I don't know. Is Christian going to flip on Devens? Like, are they trying to Wendell and Dom it? Like, what's the goal here? I'm curious. I'm honestly really curious to see that. We haven't gotten a lot of them, like what they're currently we got so much of like how they were thinking of the dynamics of the game and like where they wanted to go. And now we haven't caught back up with them. And I'm curious actually to hear what they're thinking now. Right.
It's been so interesting, Liana, like the editing of this season, because Christian, I would say, like, was the star of the pre-merge. I mean, he went to tribal in every episode, but we have had him basically relegated to being a background player. He literally said he was as much a tribal council, which is just, again, you don't necessarily expect that from like a season-long Survivor. And the other side of this is obviously Tiffany, who becomes like a major character now of the past few episodes once she starts going to tribal council.
Well, I think it's interesting also to look at the confessionals that Christian is getting, is that comic relief maybe is not the right word, but we get the, Jonathan plucks me, says fee fi fo fum, the giant plucks me, and I go along. Right there, there's still those fun confessionals, but to Izzy's point, they're not about, oh, here's my position within the game, here's who I want to work with, here are my allies, like this is where I'm trying to go, where I'm trying to move. It's about Cirie gallivanting on Exile, and we do see some of that.
I
right?
do not think she'd call it gallivanting.
Remember what that I think that's what Christian used.
Yeah.
And we do get some of it with him talking about the benefit of being paired with Jonathan, as we had talked about. So, there is some of it there, but there's not that long-term strategy, or it's sort of that overarching plan that we see from Christian. But I do remember from David versus Goliath that his edit also similarly kind of got a little bit more quiet as we got to the merge. And I don't know if that's due to like lack of food, because, when you need a lot of energy to run your brain, Christian's got a big old brain, okay? He requires a lot of glucose to get those neurons firing.
He's a data center. He needs all the drinkable water.
Exactly. Yes. And the locals are currently boycotting. So I think it could be also a situation like that, but there's certainly been sort of I would say that this season, I don't want to say necessarily more so than most, but it's really done a lot of main characters, secondary characters, and those have shifted over the course of the season. But, there has been sort of a focus on certain groups of people in each episode over time.
All right, Izzy, I'd be remiss before we move on if we did not go gallivanting back onto Exile Island.
We could go back to Exile.
Let's spotlight your lady Cirie here. I mean, it was a big moment for her. And, we talked about this a little bit last week, how I think they luck out in bringing some of these old school legends onto a journey or onto Exile to be able to show the entire time lapse. Couldn't necessarily do that with someone like Rizo, right? Of like, hey, this is what I did 2 weeks ago. But what were your takes on that entire sequence we got? Cirie talking about how Survivor still allows her to be able to surprise herself in so many ways, even 20 years later.
Yeah, I mean, like, Cirie's amazing. Like, when she's back at home, like, she is a normal ass person going to work every day, being a grandmother, and like living just like a very day-to-day, normal, busy, family focused life,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, like, these adventures are like, test her. And I think she loves that, right? Like, she's not one that's afraid in her regular life also of being tested. Like, she became a nurse out of necessity, and to care for her family. And she's an incredibly strong person that like the world has told you're not strong, which like, I think that's something that we related to each other on, just feeling like the world is telling us no. And we're like, but why not me? And so I think this was like hard. I think she, the way she remembers it is just like, this was the most difficult thing. It was so hot. It felt
even harder than the balance beam.
It's different. This was grueling. I think this was like incredibly grueling for her, and there's a lot of pressure. I think she feels a lot of pressure on this season, so and a lot of pressure where like every vote really, really, really matters to her, because even though they haven't talked about it on the beach, I think she will never stop being the biggest target of the season. I mean, how could she not be, especially because people forget about it. Right. So then when you remember, it's like, oh shit, now she's super powerful, so I don't know. I'm proud of her. Right. She keeps showing up. To me, I'd rather see someone that maybe you think shouldn't be able to do a thing, persevere and do the thing way more than Jonathan and his nipple just like walking a tree.
Singular nipple.
I just don't give a I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, that doesn't make me impressed at all, So, I know she was thinking about her grandson, but like, I think her granddaughter a lot on that beach, and just being like, I am a model for so many people, and like, that's really motivating for her. So I know that she's like, oh, I hate watching myself cry and shit like that, but like, I don't know, it was beautiful, right? I think we all always feel something when we watch her like accomplish something, and so I'm really happy. I'm happy she got that experience, even though of course she's mad as hell about it, and and like, I'm happy that
what you wanted, Cirie. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm like happy that people continue to get to see that, like, no matter how big of like a queen or a mother or like, how big she is, that she is just always a real person that is like always going to show you why she loves this, you know? That's like beautiful. No, Coach can't. So many people can't say that. You know what I mean? It's like Coach is a big ass buffoon. I don't know why we're obsessed with him being a legend. You know, it's like he's just a buffoon. Like, so anyway, I don't know. I'm happy about it. I've watched.
Is he not a legend like financial analyst Chris Varela?
I was like, Emily Flippin?
Okay, is that actually a real person? Because I did try to Google it and I could not find anybody under that name. I thought
really?
I just spelled it wrong.
No, he's he certainly has like spoken at seminars. He is like, I don't know how notable of a financial
How do you
analyst.
spell his name then?
Varela.
Varela.
Chris Varela.
Chris Varela. Bearded man. No. Does he have a big beard?
I believe he does. Yes.
Oh, okay. Because there's someone named Chris Varela on Instagram, but he only has 1,000 followers.
Coach might be one of them.
Who Coach was talking about.
Maybe it's like the hipster side of Coach being like, there's this little guy, you don't know about him, you know, I got him on vinyl, his name is Chris Varela. Or he got like obviously Coach is raking it in with the cameos and now charging for nicknames. Like, it's possible that this guy paid him an exorbitant sum to be like, can you name drop me on the show? And Coach is like, yeah, listen, you give me the price and I'll do it.
I mean, he's the integrity guy. He's absolutely doing that. He's like the Tom, personality-wise, he's like the Tom Sandoval of Survivor.
I can see it, honestly. I can see that comparison, yeah.
Don't you think? Yeah.
Him and Coach also, right? Or
Tyson.
Both
friends of Tyson.
Well, yeah, that's a whole, we could talk about House of Villains. Yeah. Anyway, all I could hear was when he was
or like think about when Coach was conducting himself in the hammock. It's like Tom singing backwards into the doll.
Exactly. There's a trumpet. They both play trumpet. Oh, y'all.
It's there.
Izzy, did you stumble on something here? Tom Sandoval of Survivor?
I could get into reality TV conspiracy theories. Okay. I could get hip to that. Okay.
I love it.
I started one right now.
Liana, any thoughts about our trip to Exile in this episode? I love that Cirie took the coconut back with her. I do not think production prompted her to do it. I'm very sure this was a Cirie choice.
Good though, right? Because again, we talked. Oh, crack it up. Do you think there was actually like?
I don't know. Part of me's like, there's something in there. Like,
brought some back. Like, no, these are the good ones. I brought the good ones. No, I mean, look, we talked about this with Stephanie, with other people who have gone on journeys. What do you say, right? How do you explain the situation? People aren't going to believe you. So I think having that physical coconut probably was incredibly helpful to validate the story that, I mean, there's no way she could have made that, right? That's not a fake coconut that Rick Devens hid at Tribal Council. So it helps to validate the story, which makes her believable. And then it all kind of makes sense. And then she doesn't have an extra target on top of her already, threat level from that journey in Exile specifically.
That is a great idea. Like, can we take mementos from the journey to prove ourselves? I mean, this is more of a, Airbud there's not a rule against it, but could you do like, no, on the journey, I had to hold up a stone as long as possible. Look, I broke my toe. Would I be lying to you? Would I be showing you a broken toe if that wasn't what I had to
You break your toe? What? Would you break your toe?
I don't know. Listen, you can do a lot of things to get ahead in the game.
Like, that's crazy.
It's 127 hours. You need to break your toe to get out of the trap. I'm just imagining like what Stephanie would have brought back, like a bucket, I guess, from
the worst choice.
Like a piece of rope.
Yeah.
What would she bring back?
I mean, like, Cirie did get lucky in the sense that, like, she didn't even have to lie about it. She's like, yeah, now I get to vote tonight. So great. Like, so everything's the same, and like, even, I mean, we didn't see anyone question it, but like, she got lucky in the sense that like, it could have been like, you get to now keep your vote and this coconut is an idol, right? Which then would be more complicated of a thing to.
That actually would have been very fun. That would have been fun the more I think, because we haven't had any idols hidden in the post-merge. Granted, it hasn't really felt like a post-merge, but all we've had are the Billie Eilish freaking boomerang idols. We have not seen hair nor hide of any other type of idol this season.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. I'm just like, it's chock full of twists, but we don't even have just like a tribe hidden immunity idol.
Well, I like the idea of I mean, I guess what's the most recent one I could think of? China, I guess, with the placard. I like some kind of big honking idol that you gotta. Oh, maybe the Ghost Island immunity neck, like Eric's immunity necklace. Yeah, but just like I love the idea of Cirie having to just like carry this massive coconut.
Right, everyone's like, "Why do you keep that coconut?" You know,
it really reminds me of my perseverance and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, Cirie, that thing stinks 7 days in. Can you get rid of it? Like, no
way.
My pet.
It's too much. Exactly. Well, she did say it was her best ally out there. So I was not surprised, again, even if she wasn't prompted, to take it back with her, just to be like, he's a new member of our tribe. This is our Merc the chicken.
That's right. That's right. Aww.
All right. Well, we shall see and talk about who was clucked in this very episode and plucked from the tribe, much like a chicken feather. Let's talk about the duo taken out in the double duo twist. It is time for our preseason predictions, and we've got 2 of them this week. So what do you think, Liana? Should we go in the order they oddly went in terms of who was snuffed when, or should we go in reverse order?
Yeah, let's just go in the order in which they were snuffed, I suppose. Poor Chrissy.
It's like, I'm sorry. You just like, it's so hard for women. I just like, can we just like, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you couldn't even, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I don't want to be like a broken record about it. I'm gonna let Liana talk about Chrissy, but I just like agree with everything so much of the fans are saying about how equal this season has been, and that the vibe of Survivor has been becoming. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really disappointing. And I think I love that Jeff thinks that like I love that everyone that works on Survivor, it's a family, blah, 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 yada, yada. I don't really care about family, like it's fine, like whatever. But it's like, this is like, it's something like where it feels like when you're too close to it, you stop having perspective.
Can't see the jungle for the trees.
And like, I'll let everyone look it up themselves, but I saw a picture of like the episode editing room team, and I think everyone should look at that room and think about why the edit looks the way the edit consistently looks.
Well, I mean, Chrissy's the final words also
were
a bit like with Coach getting basically a monologue and Chrissy getting, I don't know, 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, which is weird because she told me that she did like a very similar thing to Coach. That she said like, "Thank you, this was such an honor, play hard," and they're like, "Nope, we don't need this. This will be on the DVD bonus. Coach, you made the cinematic cut, my friend."
And it's just trash. He says nothing. It's like all just words with no actual quality of content.
Though we did get Rizo declaring that Coach changed his life, and Emily showing
Emily's
that
maybe
a queen. This more so maybe just I don't know, changed her prescription with how hard she was rolling her eyes.
Which, as she should. And the thing is, and if it was flipped and Emily flippin' said that to Coach, she wouldn't get away with it. Rizo gets away with a lot. Rizzo's a smart player, but Rizo gets away with a lot.
To be fair, minutes earlier, he walks over to Rick being like, "I know you just like threw a firework in the middle of this, but I gotta say, like, big fan. That was a really cool moment." It's like, what are we doing right now, Rizzo?
You dog with your 6 idols. Okay, Rizzo. This is cute. It was funny.
You can tell that again. He said that he's more of a girl's guy. That he's like, "Good on you, buddy. Wow, 6, you real dog. You woof woof."
I will say the Rizzo moment where he goes girl bye when Chrissy is gonna vote him, like wants to target him. That was a really great.
That was funny.
I enjoyed that. Okay, so let's circle back to Chrissy. So
that would be a piece of corporate language that Chrissy would use, by the way.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, I did not hit my Q2 goals at all. This is gonna be rough. All right, so just bear with me. I had Chrissy making the finale.
Okay.
I said Chrissy enters the game ready to play hard, quickly linking up with Coach and Jonathan to form a tight, loyal pre-merge alliance. The group isn't taken very seriously due to Coach's shenanigans, and they're able to slide deep into the merge. However, recognizing the danger of the men teaming up late, Chrissy makes the first move, flipping with Stephanie and Cirie to take out Coach at Final 6. The move works, but exposes Chrissy as a decision maker, raising her threat level at exactly the wrong time. At Final Four, Chrissy is sent to fire making against Stephanie, where her survival legacy comes full circle. In a cruel twist of fate, Chrissy loses at fire, the same mechanic that some say once cost her the win, and is taken out just short of Final Tribal.
Y'all do fan fiction on this shit? This is great.
Be prepared, Izzy. Be prepared.
Oh no, her ally.
Oh,
Allies, Coach and Jonathan, enemy, fire making / Jeff Probst, which that one I think holds true. Her enemy definitely is production and Jeff Probst.
100%. And Democrats.
Oh,
I mean,
well, that too.
Liana, listen,
no.
you may have been incredibly off the map, but at least we are occupying the same quadrant of said map. I had Chrissy making the finale. Re-entering the crack den of Survivor 50, Chrissy hits the pipe a little too hard coming out. Looking to immediately show she can have a social game, she overcompensates in the first couple days, earning snarky confessionals from her cast members. Don't worry though, much like her original season, Chrissy will only spend a small amount of time on the outside, and she'll find a way in through an alarmingly similar demo as Charlie connects with her and decides to include her in his growing web of allies. At one point, after biffing a pre-merge challenge pretty hard, we'll get a sequence of Chrissy really sitting in her loss at camp, and will be treated to an emotional confessional where she talks through her previous cancer scare and what she's learned about being proactive in the midst of experiencing a massive low. At the swap, Charlie is taken away from Chrissy, but she finds a new safe haven in Rick Devens, as two of the biggest shoulda-won contenders in the 30s vow to take each other to the end so that one of them will remedy what was promised in the 2010s. When the merge hits, Chrissy reconnects with Charlie and to a lesser extent, Coach. The C's say see ya to the vast majority of their competition, with the pair serving as a key fulcrum in the topsy-turvy nature of this individual game. However, that strategy gives Charlie too many 46 flashbacks. Fearing the dangers of letting a mama bear into the house, he vows his porridge won't get eaten again and decides to gun for her. When Coach informs Chrissy, she gets enraged, immediately turning the rest of the tribe against her number one ally. Chrissy makes it all the way to the Final Four, where she has a good shot to yet again win in final immunity and sit at the end. But it's Joe who bests her in the end, as he chooses to pit her and Coach against each other. The Survivor gods may be many things, cruel, arbitrary, but they also have a good sense of humor. And so Chrissy Hoffbeck goes out in Final Four fire making thanks to a guy named Ben. Her ally was Charlie, then Coach, and her enemy was Charlie, then Joe.
That's so funny.
It's just
I think you and I are so rude. We're so cruel. We were like, you know what would be funny? Man. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so wait. And Coach also. Okay, all right.
All right, Izzy, we're going to put the conductor baton a la Coach in your hands right now. You get to pick between us who had the better read on Chrissy's game.
Good luck.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Low bar.
I was going to say flip a coin, man.
I don't know. Just because it was like I was experiencing it for the first time, I got to go Liana. Like I just was like, what's happening? And now
that's true. Mine was a little bit of like when the sequel just basically repeats the beats of the original movie.
Yeah.
I was like, like you had too much Charlie in yours. I'm sorry. I just had to go with Liana.
Yeah, if it could send it back a script revision, too much Charlie in this one.
Charlie. No.
Yeah.
Only note, too much Charlie.
Too much Charlie.
Well, Mike, now I got to hear your Coach.
Yeah, you got to go first for Coach.
Would you like to?
Not the crack of the knuckles. You're feeling confident.
Give me that final three, baby.
And I quote, "Gather, my children, and let me regale you with the unlikely yet epic story of how Benjamin Coach Wade won Survivor 50.
No way.
Coach enters the game.
I don't even think you're allowed.
I've been on record about this, baby. I was talking this from the pre-season when I was out there. Coach enters the game with an incredible Q rating, including from the man himself, from the rest of his cast. His old school compatriots are happy to be working alongside a familiar face, while the new era contestants are still pinching themselves weeks in that they're actually playing alongside the Dragon Slayer. So Coach is able to coast on vibes and reputation during the first part of the game. We'll get segments around him providing nicknames and telling stories as per usual, but at long last, his bits will find a welcome audience. But all that sparkle is not to dull any of Coach's shiny gamesmanship. We see he creates quick and meaningful connections with Charlie, Chrissy, Jonathan, and Camilla. At the swap, Coach winds up sharing a shelter yet again with Ozzy. Outnumbered by a new era majority, the two of them will let bygones be bygones all these years later, channeling their combined strengths to make sure the South Pacific cast sports a third winner. Coach misses one of his kids' birthdays during the season, which will cause him to have a surprising emotional breakdown at camp. We'll then be treated to a sequence where he then informs us what has changed with him since the show and why his family is now his true North Star in this game. And yes, he'll use the mention of North Star to go onto an extended monologue about the constellation sailors use when circumnavigating the globe in the 1400s. While Coach meets a number of new people at the merge, he yet again drafts off of his good preseason impression like a hawk rising through thermals, shout out Animorphs. He immediately grabs hands with the man whose balls he formerly grabbed in Colby. Together, they decide to form an alliance among the old schoolers, as well as old school-minded like Joe and Jonathan. Unfortunately, it's a case of the best laid plans of mice and little men. A new coalition forms among the new schoolers and strategists, culling his close allies. But like the best samurai of yore, Coach will learn to walk on his hands rather than put his foot in his mouth. Perceived as less of a threat than his allies, he lays low while banking on relationships he previously made with Cirie, Ozzy, Chrissy, and Charlie. Towards the end of the game, Joe and Coach will swear their loyalty to one another. The two will force a tie between Coach and Chrissy at the Final Four, who he had been working tightly with the past couple rounds. Coach will ironically win the fire-making showdown and, of course, do a couple of textbook power poses upon his victory. Sitting in the Final Three, Coach is having major deja vu. But much like Boston Rob between All-Stars and Redemption Island, he knows what he has to do to not repeat the same outcome. Dropping the guise of epic poetry and myriad quotes, he talks about the flexibility he showcased, his ability to escape danger like an Amazonian tribe eating his asshole. He does dip into a bit of the typical, however, with his closing message. Quote, "For over 15 years, I have been known as the Dragon Slayer, but I stand in front of all my venerated players today to tell you that Coach Ben Wade this season has become the Dragon. As a result of bringing the quote-unquote fire to Final Tribal Council, Coach improbably ends up winning. Coach will also be the person who fakes the most enthusiasm for Mr. Beast's appearance, and he'll get brought into a Mr. Beast video of, we stranded this one man on Exile Island for 30 days. His ally was Chrissy and Joe, and his enemy was the edit.
You know what? That's actually he did get that in, it wasn't Mr. Beast, but it was Zach Brown. I feel like Coach was giving the most unenthusiastic, trying to pretend like he cares about Zach Brown.
Coach knows what he needs to do to get camera time, and that includes glazing any sort of celebrity or reward that's brought in front of him.
Okay, before I read my prediction, I do need to mention one quote from this episode that I just keep laughing at. It's when Ozzy is talking to Tiffany and he's talking about serving up Coach on a platter. And he goes, Ozzy says, and then we can dragon slay that ass.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just amazing. So I have no comments on that, just no notes. Perfect. Okay, so Coach, I also had Coach making the finale. I said Coach enters the game just being Coach, so naturally no one takes him that seriously, which allows him to slide by as a non-threat despite being Coach. He forms a tight pre-merge alliance with Chrissy and Jonathan, giving out nicknames while doing Tai Chi on the beach. Come merge, the biggest strategic players take shots at each other, allowing Coach and his alliance to slip by to the finale. However, at Final 6, Chrissy begins to worry about the men linking up and decides to not take any chances. She bands together with Stephanie and Cirie to flip the script, leaving Coach as a casualty of his own hero's journey. Coach gives us at least 3 different misattributed quotes over his time on the season. His allies, Chrissy and Jonathan, and his enemy, also Chrissy. Which, you know. So yeah, that was my prediction. That is so funny, Mike, that I thought, well, I don't know what I thought was gonna happen, but I was like, man, I'm so far off. I'm feeling
That's the thing, Liana. You never can ever think that you're far off because you just don't know what the other side's providing. It's playing a game of Battleship, and there's a lot of white pegs on my board right now.
This is crazy.
All right. So, yeah, Izzy, I'll go ahead and take that second point. Thank you very much.
You know what? I'm giving it to you. You campaign.
Oh, come on. I wrote the Iliad, okay?
Really did.
Listen, the ADHD, I was like, I don't even know what he's saying anymore.
And I wrote it on ADHD as well. So yeah, very much stream of consciousness, intrusive thoughts winning out here.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Okay, that's a wild ride, actually. I like
Oh my
that.
gosh. Ugh. All right. Fabulous. Okay. So the game, let me get set up real quick for the game that we're going to play today. So this is a game that I am calling
Oh no.
Who's That Meme? Mike, if you could please share. Thank you very much. Okay, so this game, the way that this works is I was struck by some of the facial expressions that the contestants were making during this episode. So I am going to describe a scenario that happened in the episode and show you 4 memes, and you have to guess which meme matches the scenario as closely as possible.
Okay, I was a little confused by this meme initially because I thought you put Jeff in as the third person in the jealous girlfriend meme. I was like, that person's not supposed to be happy as Jeff is exulting in the rain right now.
Well, I will tell you, I was making this literally right before this. I had to work today, so I was like behind, and I was Googling. I needed like a cover picture, and I was like, Survivor meme first photo in. I don't even think I read it. So here we are. But the meme is, the jealous girlfriend meme. But Jeff is, I guess, the jealous girlfriend, but he's like real happy about it because it's for more idols. Anyway, whatever. Check out the video.
Jeff is dating himself. I think this makes perfect sense, Mike. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Yes, there we go.
But also, there's Jeff Probst, and then also the middle guy is Jeff Probst.
That's what I'm saying. Jeff is in a relationship with himself.
Yeah, I think the fans, if you were to go to the original meme format, I think that we would be here as the fans. Being like,
okay, I'm
okay.
terrible at this.
So let's move on to our first situation. Okay, so Mike, this is for you. So your situation that you have to describe is Chrissy's reaction to the double the duo or whatever the hell it was called twist. Okay, so this is Chrissy finding out about how the twist is going to work, and this is her reaction. So there are 4 memes here. The first is I show speed, sort of gasping, covering his mouth in gasp. The fourth is surprise Pikachu. B, surprise Pikachu. C is the animated or drawn Captain Kirk.
Animated
meme.
Captain Kirk, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And then the last is, I can't remember where this is from. Some like America's, like Britain's Got Talent or something like that.
Yes.
It's that ginger kid with the very, very wide open, shocked face.
Trouty mouth, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Pui was like telling me the names and I didn't remember all the names of the memes. So you'll have to bear with me here. So Mike, of these, which is most like Chrissy's reaction to finding out about the twist?
It's so interesting because I feel like we're dealing with some double duos right here. And then I feel like A and C are kind of related to one another. They're both hand over mouth. It's just 1 versus 2. And then B and D are both just no hands involved, wide open shock. I feel like, okay, I don't remember Chrissy's reaction in the episode, but I do remember Chrissy's reaction when a very iconic confessional where she reads the note in Heroes, Healers, Hustlers that reveals Final Four fire making, and she reads the note aloud and she goes, oh! So I feel like it's going to be either A or C. I don't know why she'd do 2 hands. It would feel apropos. So I'm going to go with C for Captain Kirk because she argues she was done in by the Captain Kirk of the season and Rick Devens playing that fake idol.
Okay. Now, granted, this is my interpretation, but I think that Chrissy looks most like surprise Pikachu.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it. It's also the yellow.
The yellow, I think also kind of no other facial expression going on with it, just a open mouth type reaction. So, Mike, unfortunately, that's not a point for you.
Just a warm up.
That's identical, Liana. That's identical. Sorry, I'm shook.
Very
That's
similar.
so
You have an
right.
eye for meme faces.
Spot on.
Yes. All right. Well, so Izzy, let's move on to you for the next question. Now, this scenario is your favorite person of all time, Coach.
Oh, yes.
Who is having a conversation with Tiffany where he's trying
yes,
to clear the air.
Yes.
D.
Yes.
D. It's D.
It's absolutely D. This is one of my
D.
favorite moments of the episode.
We didn't even
where he
talk
just-
about that, but that was insane. He didn't even figure out what he was going to say to her.
Yep.
That's how little.
It's just a natural follow-up question. And it's also the second time in 3 weeks this has happened. Because remember, there's the whole thing with D, right? During the blood moon where he's like, by the way, Emily's been throwing your name out. And she's like, really? Who'd you hear that from? And he's like, I did not realize there'd be follow-up questions.
What an idiot. It's D.
Which, yes. Okay. So first of all, I will reveal the answer, but yes, your options were sort of like confused Shrek, a little Picard question, a weird confused baby, and the buffering meme. And yes, of course, it was again basically identical, like even the same nose shape.
It's identical. And the wheels turning, and he's like, well, I didn't think she would ask me a follow-up question.
I prepared all answers to all possible questions except for that
so
one.
Adamant, not me. I wasn't. And she's like, okay, bitch, who?
But then who?
He didn't even think of who he wanted to pin it on. Anyway, it's crazy.
But then who?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, and okay, again, this was edited, right? But it felt like it lasted so.
Oh no, coach admitted to me that it lasted that long. Like he fully was like, "Yep, I had no idea what I was doing."
It's crazy.
I love it. Okay. Let's move on to our next question. Mike, this is for you. Okay, so Coach is in the hammock. He's been relegated to the hammock, and he's not allowed to leave. He's in timeout, and he's doing his haiku thing, and he's doing it sort of silently to himself. And he has this reaction to getting his haiku.
Oh, yeah.
Just so.
Okay, just because I know the answer, but describe them for the uninitiated.
Yes. So your four options are the second part of the Drake meme where instead of the rejection, he's like, yeah. And then the second part is the like thinking, tapping the head meme. C, Salt Bay, or the Success Kid doing the fist celebration.
Well, initially I would pick Drake because I'm pretty sure he conducted that song in A minor. But no, it is the Success Fist Kid as he's actually negotiating a haiku that does actually work. He secretly fist pumps himself.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Immediate. Yes. This whole segment was just so ridiculous to me of Coach just entertaining himself, I guess maybe is the
entertaining the camera crew. He's not like this at home.
I was gonna say, do you think there was one specific camera who also had to babysit Coach? They're like, all right, you're on coach duty for the day. Good luck.
They draw rocks at the beginning of the day and it's like, fuck, I keep getting stuck with fucking Coach.
Everyone throwing your shot in the dark.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we are all tied up 1-1. Izzy, we're going back to you, and we're moving on to the tribal council. Obviously, when Devens pulls out the idol, several reactions from the crowd. These are the reactions that I think best represent one financial analyst, Emily Flippin. Your options are A, the disgusted kid meme. It's a little blonde girl with the two buck teeth. Reaction. The other options are the Barbie disgusted face, a classic Jim Halpert face, as well as I don't even know how to describe the last one, but it's like so iconic. It's the 3-tiered. If anyone else has a description, the like white guy is just like,
it's a literal double take. It's like,
exactly.
Oh man, I mean, I want to say this is between A and B. Like, I don't think she looked like, yeah, I want to say it's between A and B. Because I think it's fucking hilarious, I'm voting for A.
Okay, all right. So you did narrow it down to the two options.
You went B, didn't you?
It was B. It was B. I think it's pretty close. I think there could be a debate there, but I don't know. To me, it's giving the disgusted Barbie.
Can I say, low key, Emily was one of my favorite foils to coach throughout the
Mhm.
short amount of time they had together. I feel like she was one of the best go-to people for all of his shenanigans.
Yes.
Again,
Mhm.
through to his final moments when Rizzo's like, I love you, coach. Lexi Love style. And Emily's like, okay, can we move on here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's so iconic. Like, what a
So
legend.
over it, not having it.
Oh, this is great. You nailed it. This is absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, we're going back to you. Same situation, but this time it's Joe's reaction to Devens pulling out the idol. So your four
Oh.
options are the Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark sort of eye roll meme, another Jim Halpert smirk, the like SpongeBob, I think he's wearing a SpongeBob shirt. That's how I remember it. The like disappointed SpongeBob kid on picture day. And we're running back surprise Pikachu.
Okay, so I'm between C and D right now. I don't think Joe rolls his eyes. I also don't think he'd like delightfully smirk at this like Jim Halpert. I think either he'd be like, yep, of course he freaking does, in the form of the unimpressed SpongeBob kid, or he would be shocked. I think he shocked Pikachu. If I remember correctly, I do think he bought this hook, line, and sinker. So I think we're going to be 2 for 2 in shocked Pikachu this episode.
Okay, so I will show you Joe's
Oh!
reaction. It is,
Oh.
I think, the most like the SpongeBob kid. He's kind of got that.
Oh, you
And
got
he,
this.
I think he looks. Oh, I think he's looking over at Jonathan. Maybe most likely, just like this guy. If
Wait,
I
can
could
we
do his inner
also-
monologue.
Mini buffer snuff here. Can we look at what's going on with the buff? I'm very confused.
Wait, what do you? Oh, because
He
he's
wrapped
like
it around
somehow.
his duo handkerchief.
How did
Exactly,
he wrap it
yes.
around the bit? How did he wrap it around there?
I don't know.
I have no idea. He might have just folded it and like stuck it to his head. That's kind of what
Like,
it looks
I
like.
heard it
It
through
does look
sweat.
like
Yeah, because look over here. It's kind of like gapping over on the
Yeah.
left-hand side.
Yeah, it looks
not
like
great.
a cold compress pack. Like his
Yeah.
dry has
Yeah.
a fever or something.
He has a headache from having to play Survivor.
I also did love though the Rorschach test because they had to wear the like colored ribbons to
Mm.
denote who was
Yeah.
in which pair the rest of the day. To like, it's a real barometer as like who wears it how. Rizzo had a tie going on. Joe has this where he still wants to show he's on Survivor 50. He's got that brand loyalty at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, he getting that deal.
Yeah, with the logo facing out, like
Yeah.
that's his approach. Okay, Izzy, we're going back to you. Now, this is, I suppose, also, so it's also a tribal council. This is Aubry's reaction, not her sort of initial reaction, but kind of the like second reaction to finding out that Devens has an idol and is going to save them at this tribal council. So you have a Michael Scott reaction, sort of almost tearing up type reaction. You have the second part of the Spider-Man, I guess, reaction where happy crying. You've got Michael Jordan just sort of crying, no reaction. And then I don't know what the last one is from, but I've seen it online before. Hand in front of mouth, crying reaction. The like hand open gif, if I can describe it. So Izzy, what do you think most matches Aubry's reaction?
I don't think Aubry had the hand to mouth. So I think I'm eliminating D right off the bat.
So did Coach.
I think there was, I mean, I love the Michael Scott looking up. Like I do remember like that last image of her looking up at Devens felt very like, of this moment. I can't remember if she's smiling. So I think Michael Jordan is also out. I think that's not the look. There's like a little disappointment in his eyes in this one, So I think it's between A and B. I'm going to have to go A. I hope it's A. I don't know.
Well, you hope and you shall receive.
Let's
Yes.
go.
It was A.
And look at Aubrey's ribbon style. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
She has a
I
little
like
bum at
Aubrey.
the
I
top.
think he
Cute.
definitely did that for her. I like that.
That's very cute. Yeah, there was another. So Izzy, with that point, you are the winner of this game.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Finally, Thank
Yeah.
y'all.
Winning something. There was another so there's another Aubry moment. Actually, let me pull it up.
Oh,
So
Doug,
it's
I hear it.
yeah, so here, okay, so this is the Aubry moment here. Let me put it up here. Okay, so here's the Aubry and basically Puya and I were having a debate about which which meme looks the most
Kevin
like?
James.
Okay,
Yeah,
James.
I think so because if I'm looking at the other ones, she's not Grumpy Cat. She's far
Yeah,
from it, and I
she's not
don't think
Grumpy
she.
Cat.
I don't think she's the Keenan like incredulous look. I actually think maybe I might say the Hugh Laurie might be the best
but
one.
it's like that's
Assuming
like
that's Hugh Laurie.
crazed one, you know? It's like he
Okay.
looks crazed.
So okay, that's so funny because we're tied 2-2. So Mike and I were both on the Hugh Laurie one, but Izzy, you and Puya both. He immediately he was like, "No, it's Kevin James." Like immediately,
she looks smug there a little bit.
Yeah,
there's just like a hint of I'm getting away with it, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, so since we couldn't come to a consensus, I left this one. This was going to be the tiebreaker.
I love that.
But anyway, so congratulations on winning. You nailed it. We love it.
Oh my goodness.
You know your memes.
All right. Well,
I don't know any memes. Like I'm so not on the
now
internet.
you know.
I mean,
you get the fringe benefit as well of now you get not only a glorious win, but you get to find out all about these cool memes that you can talk to with Gen Zs across the nation.
I hope my Bloom Madison, delusional Madison, is proud of me. She's the meme queen. Shout that out.
Well, speaking of shout outs, Izzy, as we're wont to do when it comes to Big Brother alumni, of course, at the end of every episode here on the B&B, we give an opportunity to our guest to shout out a charity or cause that is important to them so that the people out there do not need to be like Cirie and Hunt and Peck across the wide beach of the internet to find where they can spend their hard-earned money. So what would you like to spotlight this week?
Yeah. I'm still super supporting PCRF, the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. So you can check them out. And my Big Brother pal, Joseph Abden, also works very closely with them. And it's a great organization to support.
100%. Izzy, this was such a fun time. I mean, makes sense for the Dragon Slayer that you brought the fire. I knew that you absolutely would. And thank you so much for talking through such a really fun episode. I don't know where we go from here, considering that, again, if there was this quote unquote majority going into the episode, 2 of them just got taken out. So we shall truly see if they become the middle people, but really middle people is a relative term. But
so relative.
No, but yeah, it was great to see about your de facto relatives here on the island as well. And thank you as always for coming on and being yourself. We adore every single thing about you, and this time is no different.
Thanks for having me. I love talking about Survivor. This one, of course, feels close to home. So keep rooting for Fields to do well.
Well, if people want to check out what this Field might be doing on social media, how can they do so? How can people follow you?
I don't know. Come to Blue Ski. That's what I call her. But at Flute Dyke. That's where I'm mostly talking reality TV and trolling and all that good stuff.
Will you post more memes now that you know about them?
Yeah, I'm going to try.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Yeah, it's all about the effort.
That's exactly it. It's all about the effort at the end of the day. You'll crack open that one coconut that you'll find is just the perfect meme.
That's all you need.
All right. Well, all you need to do is also check out what's going on with the PAL, what's going on in Australian Survivor over at Parade. We are doing a lot of stuff around Survivor as we get into basically like the final month of the season. We're actually about a month away right now from the ending of this. And we still have 11 people left, but we also only have 11 people left. We have less than half the cast is left here. And so I'm incredibly intrigued to see what happens from here. You know, I'm hoping we get a little bit more of a pure round. I'm not sure because there seems to be a special announcement happening. And Jeff also seems to be competing in the challenge, which is going to be really, really weird in and of itself. But regardless, the weirder it is, the more fun Liana and I are going to have next week getting to break it all down.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks to everyone behind the scenes at RHAP for packaging this podcast for your eyes and your ears. And of course, Will from America for his fantastic theme song that can outkick anything that Coach would compose on the hammock. We'll be back next week covering episode 9 of Survivor 50. Thank you so much again, Izzy. Until next time, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.